Google just launched another market upsetter, which is their new world generation model, which is Genie-3. Now, Genie-3 is the new frontier for world models. And it is so mind blowing that you can just prompt anything and it can create interactive worlds for you, as you can see on your screen right now. You can go ahead and do realistic prompts, games, TV shows, and much more using this new model. And it has real time interactivity, which means you can prompt it to do whatever you want to do in real time. And you can interact with your characters using your keyboard, your mouse, or whatever you have. It has word memory, which means that it will keep things consistent. Like if you're painting something on one wall and if you look around and when you look back at that wall, it's going to keep that in memory that there was some paint on this wall. So if the camera angle goes back to the wall, you will see the same paint there. And you can even go ahead and do promptable events, which means that while one event is on the way, you can actually change the events using a prompt, like a man on the jet ski right now, or you can change that to a crimson dragon. I think this is one of the craziest breakthroughs in the AGI industry. And I have so many use cases for this. You can actually use this in video games. You can train your agents, let them loose in this environment where they can learn and interact with the environment. And you can even go ahead and train your models. You can train video games, TV shows, movies, and much more. So these are the wormholes and a whole new world that Genie-3 just brought. Hi and welcome back to SkillCurb. This is your host Riz and we're finally getting started with this video. So before we talk about the limitations and responsibilities, also the next steps about Genie-3, I actually want to show you how powerful Genie-3 is. So we're going to go through some of the demos, the realistic ones, the gameplay demos, as well as some demos where you can actually interact with the environment using prompts. So let's get started with one of the realistic demos that I find very realistic, and I think this is quite good. So I'm talking about this demo right here where you can see that a person is on a pathway and you can see the shoes there. You can look on the right, on the top, even down there on the grass, as well as you can walk and you can interact with objects. You can pretty much look at the car. You can see how consistent the sunlight is and the shadows, everything. You can even go ahead and act. By act, you can perform an action like opening the door or closing the door. So this means that you can interact with pretty much anything in this world, which is really, really great. You can see the shadow of the man. I think this is top-notch realism. Although there is some blur on these flowers, but overall, this was really great one. Then we have this realistic demo of a biker riding on the edge of a cliff, and you can see how amazing this is. You can look on the right, you can look on the front, the shadows are consistent, and the scenery is just mind-blowingly realistic. This is really, really good. I think Genie-3 has done an absolutely fantastic job in this. Another realistic example is this one, where you can see a monument, a historical monument right over here, and you can interact with this historical world, which is really, really great. You can see on the consistency and positioning of these trees, also the sunlight and the shadows. And one thing is very clear, this is multiple minutes of video generation. Way longer video generation as compared to VS3 or Genie-2. We're going to be talking about comparison of Genie-2 and Genie-3 later on in this video. You can see how great the interaction is. I also really like this one where you can see that this is a fantasy world, and I think this is more like a role play or an open world game where your character can explore the world. With this, I think the gaming world is going to completely change. We also have this demo where you are the driver of a helicopter. This also can be a use case in the gaming perspective. Not just realistic demos, we also have these fantasy worlds of animated demos like this alligator running through the fields and the water as well. So this can be used in a kids game or maybe in an interactive storytelling video. And by far the world generation and the environment is really consistent. One thing that I was amazed by is this one. You can see when the rider jet ski passes through by this lamp, the lamp is actually moving out of the way naturally, which I think is really great. I think this is a really minor detail, but Genie-3 is so powerful and thoughtful that it has taken care of this. And you can even see the reflection in the side mirrors of the jet ski, which is also really, really good. And that's not all. If the jet ski actually hits any object like this boat right here, it actually seems like a jet ski hitting a boat, and This makes it more of a realistic world. And I think this can be the future of metaverse. You can see this is an environment where the sea levels are rising and the water is splashing over the barrier. There's rain. That's why everything is a bit foggy. To be really honest, I'm really impressed by these demos and I'm really excited to try this out myself and play with this new model Genie-3. Okay, so those were all the other demos. Now we can talk about demos where you interact with the environment using prompts. So here's the prompt. Go to the rack of aluminum sheet pans and then walk over to the large red industrial stand mixer on the counter. So if you view the video, it's actually walking to this rack here, then going back to the industrial red stand mixer on the counter. This is really good. We also have another example where you have to walk carefully to the ornate glided throne and then move to the rolling custom rack. And there you go. The character is actually going to the throne here, and then it should be going to the costume rack right over there. So this is actually how you're going to interact with the environment using prompts. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about Genie-2 and Genie-3, and we're going to be comparing Genie-2 with Genie-3. So here are the results for both of these models. So you can see on the left, we have Genie-2, which is low in quality, and on the right, we have Genie-3, which is high quality. And also you can see that the duration for Genie-2 is short, is not as lengthy as compared to Genie-3. As you can see, the interaction ended on the left side, but Genie-3 is still generating as it generates frame by frame by the reference of the last frame that was generated. And this is the core concept of Genie-3 and why this is breaking the internet. This is another interaction with Genie-2 and Genie-3, and you can see that on the left, the quality isn't good. And you can see the buttons are not looking that great. But on the right, you can see Genie-3 has done a really great job of 720 pixels of quality world generation. And the buttons are really individualized and looking really great. The quality was an issue with Genie-2, but it has been resolved with Genie-3. Also, you can see that the duration of Genie-2 is really limited. The interaction ended on the left, but on the right, the interaction is still going. And behind the door, there is a whole new world. And it is really smooth. If you pass by the chair, everything still stays consistent and nothing breaks. This is really mind-blowing. And here are also some stats related to Genie-2 View and Genie-3. So you can see that Genie-2 had 360p of resolution, but Genie-3 is 720 pixels, which is double the amount of resolution as compared to Genie-2. Also, it generates multiple minutes of world generation. As for Genie-2, it was only 10 to 20 seconds. And it's not in real time, but Genie-3 is actually real time as it generates the next frame with the reference of the last frame that was in the canvas. Alright, so we have talked a lot about Genie-3 and we saw a lot of demos by Genie-3, but the sad part is Google did not announce the release date for the model, and even they did not disclose any release date for the testing for general public. This project is for now Google internal. I'm really looking forward to try this out and play around with this thing. So I'll be keeping a check on this and I'll post a video as soon as it gets public and we can actually try this out. But for now, I will sadly have to conclude this video, and I hope this video was helpful. If you found this video insightful, hit that like button, share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below, ring the notification bell to never miss out on our daily updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in our next video. Till then, stay curious and keep exploring.